What's up, guys? This is Sammy Geek back here with a quick video. In today's video, we're going to do a little comparison between the Garmin Epix Pro. This is the 47 millimeter. We're going to talk about the Samsung Watch Ultra 47 millimeter as well. And then we're going to compare this quickly to the Watch 5 Pro. And I'm basically just going to give you guys a quick, summary or my initial impressions of wearing the Ultra watch now for a few days. And just kind of what I think is a good little quick comparison between these other two watches. And more so what I want to do is, I had a few comments on my last video, so I want to keep this open, like an open discussion. And I really want to create my content based on what you guys want to see. So I'm probably going to title this video something like Your Choice or something Your Decision. And I'd want you guys to comment and let me know what can I talk about, what would help you guys when I compare the Watch 5 Pro to the new Ultra, or compare it to the Garmin Epix Pro. So just a few things to talk about here. The difference, I want to actually just take off the 5 for a second because I want to focus on these two watches. The 47 millimeter Watch Ultra from Samsung and the Garmin Epix Pro, because this watch, if you are serious into fitness, there's a possibility that you're going to be comparing these two watches. And I've been wearing, actually been wearing a Garmin watch for, clearly I'm not wearing it today, but I've been wearing this for at least a year, not this particular watch, but I've been in the Garmin ecosystem now for at least a good solid year. So I've got a really good pulse, no pun intended, but a really good pulse on the different ecosystems as far as fitness goes. And if you're a fitness geek, pretty much like me, working out as much as you can, tracking your runs, tracking your sleep, tracking your health, just everything. From the highest level, I really did miss having the Samsung Watch 5 Pro, mainly because I was missing the ability to answer phone calls, to respond to text messages with voice, to listen to music through the speaker, things like that. More, when you compare like this watch or the Ultra, what you're getting more of like an assistant to your smartphone. That's just what, from the highest level, 30,000 foot overview, this is, I think you guys already realize this, but this is more of that smartphone companion, because again, you can answer the phone calls, you can respond, to text and say anything you want back. You have a lot of different apps in here to play around with, as far as things like that you just wouldn't have in Garmin. So there's some basic apps in the Garmin, but it's nothing like a miniature smartphone on your wrist per se. So I think, again, 30,000 foot overview. What they did, I think, with the Samsung Ultra is they've upped their game when it comes to the health features. So I've noticed there's still differences, but when I look at like tracking runs and things like that, if I can get into like a run that I did, let's see, workouts this week. If I get into a run, this was walking, this was a run that I did yesterday. You guys will see, like, here's some of the metrics. So I've got like my pace in here, and heart rate zones, lap pace, and VO2 max, and advanced running metrics. So you've got a lot of things. And I'm not saying you didn't necessarily have it with the Watch 5 Pro, but they've really upped it. And I've just noticed, sweat loss, the track that you've run, things like this. And also with the automatic workout tracking. So I did a cool down walk. Here you can see it was a 13-minute kind of cool down walk afterwards, and it auto tracked that. So that's pretty cool. And I'm just noticing that Samsung has upped their game. So as a person that's coming from the Garmin ecosystem, I'm definitely more happy with what they've done here and how they've stepped up their game when it comes to sort of the health metrics and so forth. But with that said, Garmin is still going to be very superior. So if you don't need this smartphone, essentially, you don't care so much about responding. Like you're okay responding with a few canned text messages, and you don't need to talk on your phone, talk on your watch, like, essentially using the speaker on the watch and things like that. You're going to be okay with the Garmin. But if you're a serious athlete, this is still going to be superior. The health metrics, everything from the body battery to your wake up report. They have this morning report thing that basically shares your sleep and your body battery. So they've got a version of body battery on this that I can go to, like here. But I noticed, for example, the body battery is like it says 69, and it just stays there. It doesn't go down throughout the day, where the Garmin starts you based on your metrics from yesterday, your sleep, etc., etc., and then it kind of goes down like an actual battery gauge. And it's very, very accurate. Once you start wearing the watch 24 hours a day, it's almost scary how accurate it is. So if I was not so much into the smart features of the Samsung watch, I would still stick with the Garmin for the health metrics. So what I'm trying to say is if the most important thing to you is health metrics, then I think this is going to be a winner for you, the Garmin watch. And you're starting, for price-wise, you're starting to creep up, because I think this is what, $649 or somewhere in that range. And this watch is, $1,000 all day. But again, once you're up in that range, if you're very serious about your health metrics, that this is going to be the watch. So if we take that aside a little bit, it's kind of cool having the smartwatch, but how do I explain this? This watch, being more like a smartphone, has a lot of features, bells and whistles, which means it's a little bit more quirky versus the sticking to the basics of Garmin. Garmin is a much more basic type of smartwatch, less, what would you call it? Less bells and whistles and more straightforward. So I would consider this like the pro athlete and versus the like high level amateur athlete, if that's the way to put it. Like if you're a pro athlete by any stretch, you're probably not going to mess around with the Samsung. You're going to go right to a Garmin. That's one way to put it. So I just wanted to spend some time talking about that. One of my favorite features about this watch, the Garmin, is the flashlight, and versus this flashlight here. So this flashlight is going to be the screen, essentially, that's going to light up. And this one has a actual LED light on it, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to throw this one back on, since it's wanting me to update. But this one actually has an LED light on it, and you can change this. If I hit this again, it should give me the ability to, so I can change this to a white mode. If you look at this, like check that out. That's really cool. And you guys, I'm telling you, this is very, very practical. This light is extremely bright. It's a proper LED flashlight versus just lighting up the screen. And then, of course, what you saw earlier is the red light. The red light is just so awesome for night purposes, because you're not going to lose your night vision. You can shine this thing around a room and see perfectly fine at night once your eyes are adjusted. And I tend to use it for, like if I'm in a hotel, I would just double tap and then the red light would turn on for me and I could see where I'm going. I mean, you guys look at the Garmin Reddit forums and you'll see so many people thought, oh, this is just a gimmick. It is a game changer to have a proper flashlight stuck to your wrist. An absolute, like, trust me guys, it's a game changer. And it's so different than just having this LCD, or, the screen lit up, the AMOLED screen lit up. Sure, you can turn it down and whatnot, but, by just turning your hand there. But it is, the other thing I noticed, you can turn it from like blinking mode, but you can't turn it to red. It's like, what's up, Samsung? Give us the red, because at least then I could crank it up on red mode and use it at night, right? I could shine it forward at night and get some capability out of it. So with that said, the flashlight was one of my absolute favorite features. Again, like if you are an outdoor enthusiast, you're going to use the flashlight a ton in the Garmin. If you're out camping and doing things, imagine sitting in the tent and you just want to reach over and grab something, whatever it is, your water bottle or a snack or whatever, and it's dark, you can just turn on your red flashlight and you're not going to wreck your night vision. And it's a proper, you can see this thing is just crazy, proper flashlight attached to your, fitness tracker watch. So they both have kind of what, like when you, the breadcrumb feature, when you are in like a navigation, you can track back essentially with both these watches. Now let's take off the 5 again, because there's a few more things to talk about. So what I did notice here is that you might not be seeing it exactly here, but I think the Garmin is just a hair thicker. I might take these off in a second here, but it's just a hair thicker when you compare them side by side. The weight difference is, let's talk about this. This was interesting. So let me take this guy off and take off the Samsung, and we're going to just do a weight here, because I thought this was important. So let's do a little size comparison here between the two. I'll get a little shot here. You guys will be able to see the difference in size. It's very negligible, but I felt like the Garmin was just a hair thicker when it was actually on my wrist. But again, it's like so close. I mean, they're both 47 millimeter watches. You can see the heart rate monitors on both of them. They're both as premium as you're going to get, as awesome as you're going to get. They're both accurate in the gym, or as accurate as you're going to get. The other thing to keep in mind when you talk about these smartwatches is when you get used to, let's say you're wearing the Garmin every single day, day in and day out, you're going to see things, like you're going to get used to where your heart rate is. You're going to get used to seeing your sleep patterns. They're going to be slightly different in the Samsung. So when someone goes to bed with these watches and wakes up the next morning, and you'll see on YouTube, you'll see people doing comparisons between the two, and you'll say, well, this one showed a little bit more deep sleep than this one. It's not about that, you guys. It's about the longevity of wearing these things day in and day out, week after week, and noticing patterns. Because yes, maybe this one's going to show a little bit more deep sleep than this one, or vice versa. But once you get used to your patterns, it doesn't matter if you had an hour and a half of deep sleep or 2 hours of deep sleep. You're going to start to see patterns with your body battery and your sleep. You're going to be able to track and say, wow, my normal baseline per se for either one of these watches, call it an hour and a half of deep sleep with the Samsung, and now all of a sudden you got 40 minutes of deep sleep after you've been wearing this for a month. Well, clearly you guys see where I'm going with that. You're going to be able to tell there's a difference. Whereas the Garmin, it's the same deal. So I don't split hairs when it comes to the sleep tracking and the heart rate monitor. Even if it's 5 beats off, or it takes a minute for one of these to catch up. Again, it's about long-term wear and about seeing patterns. So both are great for that. Let's do the weight here. So just with a regular Garmin band on, we are at 70 grams with the 47 millimeter Epix Pro. And this is surprising. So again, 70 grams there, and this has shocked me a little bit. 87 grams. I did not expect that. Now I've got the, what do they call it? I had it pulled up here on my other phone. They call it the Peak Form band, which, by the way, I don't really like this band at all. I would actually prefer the Marine. When I tried it on in the store, I felt like this was more comfortable. It felt like it was softer. This band, if you guys are wondering, it's kind of like if you hear that, it's kind of like a nylon-y fabric that's on this, and it's very hard plastic or hard silicone on the side, where I felt like this band was a little bit softer and maybe more pliable. This one's seems a little bit stiff. So my conclusion on the bands is probably, again, I'm saying things that you guys might realize, but I feel like the Marine one is going to be good for, it's just going to probably be the most comfortable band, most ventilated band. I don't see a lot of people wanting the trail band. I tried it for about 30 seconds and I just absolutely hated it. That's just me. I just wasn't a fan of it. If you like it, more power to you. But it was really thick up here where this band comes over and crosses on the top. It was extremely thick and it was just way too much fabric. And then it's kind of, I felt it was cheap where it connects because it doesn't connect in really nice like this one does. And going back here, so the Marine is going to be like, I don't know, to me, it's like the more general use. And then if you look at the Peak Form, which again, I've got in my hand and they've got a few different colors. Looks like, wow, they must have changed something up here. There's only a couple choices. But anyway, you guys probably saw the original choices. And again, this one I think is going to be like splitting the difference between like more of a casual dressy band and then a sports band. So I don't want to ramble too much here, but hopefully this is good information for you guys. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this. I can tell you the band is not as comfortable as I thought it was going to be. And personally, I like the Marine. So I'm going to go back to the Marine style. For dressy days, I'm just going to have to figure something else out. I saw they did have, you can get these things, I think, on Amazon, the little connectors to get a 22 or 24 millimeter band. So I'll probably get like a 22 or 24 millimeter leather band and just do the connector for if I want to dress this thing up. I've got the other colors coming. I've got the gray, so the titanium. So this is the color you guys are looking at here, is the titanium silver. And I thought this was my favorite color when I first picked it up, but I actually might lean towards the titanium gray for my mostly day-to-day wear. The reason I say that is because this doesn't feel as sporty. You can see my sweet tan from wearing these watches. This doesn't feel as sporty as I thought it was going to feel. It's more on the side of like classy. It has a nice, nice look to it. Really good for kind of all around use, except for I really like to have the sporty one for most of the days, I should say. So I'm actually I've got this titanium gray on order, which is supposed to come here in a couple days. And then I did order the white version as well. So I'm planning on keeping 2 of these watches. I'm going to keep the titanium white, and I think I'm going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to go with the titanium gray for my mostly day-to-day wear. And it doesn't make sense for me to have titanium gray and then this one for my more fun watch, right? So I'm going to go like full on fun, and I'm going to go to the white version because I just think it'll be fun to wear that one out on the town or out on the boat or do something like that, beach day. It's just more of a fun watch. And but if you're going to dress up and you're going to throw on a suit or something, I feel like this with a gray band. So let's just dress this thing up real quick. If I select gray, is there even a gray band anymore to choose? There we go. Okay, so like if you look at that with the gray band with gray watch or black watch, whatever you want to call it, I think that is going to look classy enough. I think this one looks classier, if that makes sense. But if I'm going to have 2 watches, I'm going to have the white one and I'm going to have the titanium gray. So this guy's probably going to end up getting returned. Just a heads up on that. So on to battery life. I think that's something super important to discuss here. The battery life, I know it's adjusting and it's getting, we're getting used to, or it's adjusting to my use over the next few days. But the battery life has not been as amazing as I thought. I've been charging it when I'm taking a shower. I've been charging it for about 30 minutes at night. It seems like it charges really, really slow. And the battery life, I think with just average use, I feel like I'm barely going to get 2 days. And I barely could get 2 days with this. So I don't see a huge difference between these 2 watches as far as battery life goes. Again, this is only after a few days, but that's my initial assessment. So, all right, guys, that's about it for now. If you have any questions, again, drop it below and I will create whatever videos you guys want to see. I'll get out whatever content and I'll just kind of keep comparing these. I wear these things every single day. So as you can see from my sweet tan, that's these things are strapped on me all day, all night. I use them for tracking. I use them for all my health metrics. So feel free to ask any question. The one thing, a little bonus that I had on this watch that I'm going to do probably a separate video on is the speaker quality versus the 5 Pro. The 5 Pro wasn't bad, but I would say it's at least 25% louder. And to the point where I actually had this on my wrist yesterday, and I did a run, an outdoor run, and I cranked Spotify. I downloaded some Spotify, and I cranked Spotify on this watch during my run, and I used it as my entertainment for my run. So the speaker is pretty awesome. Ooh, and I got one more bonus if you guys are still sticking with me. The vibration motor on this. I would say originally I've created some videos in the past where I've talked about this, and the Garmin has always been superior. Even the 5 Pro is okay. It's pretty good, but as far as like first, second, third, nowadays this one's going to be first, the Epix Pro is second, and this is going to be third. I'll explain why here in a second, but this one, if you were to compare this to the 6 was horrendous. I could barely wake up in the morning with the alarm clock that I had set on my watch. This 5 Pro, they had a bigger motor, more powerful motor in it. Because it's for outdoor use and running, you got to be able to feel the vibration. So you could actually use it to wake up. This one on the Garmin is awesome. Like, it's very, very powerful. Again, designed for athletes, outdoors people. You're out running, you need to feel vibrations when you are hitting laps and things like that. And so therefore it's going to wake you up. This thing is like second to none. I've never, in all my time of trying all these watches, have never felt the haptics or vibration as good as the Watch Ultra. It, again, is just, it smokes the rest of these watches. It has almost that kind of 3D haptic that you would describe as like Apple-ish, because I know that Apple tends to have really, really great haptics. And this thing when you have receive a text message or you set an alarm, this thing goes off, and it has all sorts of different vibration modes that you can select, however you want it to feel. And it almost feels like it shocks through your wrist. It's just the craziest thing, because the different kind of 3D haptics, and it does different vibrations. It'll hit like a light buzz and then followed up with a long buzz, and it's like, it feels like the watch is shocking you. It is genuinely awesome. The other cool thing I like here is on the face, you guys are seeing that now, is that, is the compass. That's really neat. I just find that like a pretty cool little thing. It's just automatically always adjusting. And I've played around with this. I've turned the screen off, the always on display, off, on turn, wrist to wake, how it's doing it right now. I've turned that off and I turned it back on. I realized I like it on because then I can see that little cool compass, and I don't know why. I just think that's pretty sweet. But I do like the details that they offer on this particular one. You get a chance to see the heart rate. You get a chance to see a lot of the different metrics and things like that. So a pretty cool watch face here. But that's about it, guys. I'm going pretty long in the video. Hopefully this is good information. If you are cross-shopping the Garmin Epix Pro, or you're just kind of wondering what it was like for changing from the Watch 5 Pro to the Epix Pro to the Ultra Pro. I'm just kidding, the Ultra difference. So far, I'm up in the air. I gotta test this thing out for another probably month or so before I really determine if I'm going to stick with this guy versus the Garmin. But in the end, so far, I'm really liking the fact that I can talk on this watch, that I can respond to text messages, that it's kind of an extension of my phone. I don't always have to pick up my phone. So that, in addition with the really, really great haptics and the awesome speaker, the battery life being so-so, a couple days, I think it'll probably do the trick. And it is, I know I keep saying I'm done, but I do have one more thing to talk about. This watch band on the Epix Pro is a 22 millimeter band. And if you compare this to what is comes default here from the Samsung as on the Ultra, this is more like a 24 millimeter band. If you guys look at the difference here, I had the 51 millimeter Garmin Epix at one point, and that was a 26 millimeter band. So here you've got 22. Here by stock you've got more 24. I always thought this was going to be 22, but it's closer to 24. And then this one is just ridiculously tiny. This is 20 millimeters. So Samsung finally came out with something that's a proper sport watch here, as compared to this little baby band. I can't believe that they would even consider putting a 20 millimeter band on what's considered to be their toughest smart watch at the time. So finally, they've come out with a big beefy watch. It's still nothing like the 51 millimeter Garmin, which I was rocking that thing for 6 months at least. Nice and big, chunky, decent heft to it, looks good, and then it's got a nice wide band to kind of match that heft versus the little dinky band that they used here. So, all right, guys, hit me up below if you have any questions. What kind of videos you guys want to see? What other things you want me to compare? Let me know, and I'll create some more content for you guys. So have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon.